welcome to another edition of What in the World is Happening, the show about Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom. I'm Sabina Qureshi, broadcasting live from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and with me are Tim Bootskis, also in Edmonton. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Sabina. Hi, everyone.
And BC Oshinbolu for the first time from London, UK. Hi, BC. How are you doing?
Hi, Sabina. Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me. I'm all right, thank you.
It's great to have you on the show. We broadcast live most second and fourth Saturdays of the month, and we stream onto Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, Dailymotion, and Twitch. And we will be trying to expand that, but right now that's what we've got. And at the end of each show, we do 30 minutes of transmission meditation. Now, today's show is about transmission meditation, so we will be doing our 30 minutes at the end. Please feel free to join us. It's a free and very powerful group meditation for anybody over the age of 12. And so we hope you'll enjoy it. And now to jump in, today's topic, transmission meditation. We're going to talk about the purpose of transmission meditation and how it works, and about the Masters of Wisdom in Maitreya, because they're very much part of this. And we'll explain who they are a little bit further into the show. Oh, the science of triangles. I almost forgot.
We'll cover, well, I guess we can start talking about what meditation is to get started, right? I mean, there's been a huge interest in meditation, East and West. And right now, I think it's very popular for people to, we've got meditation apps and all sorts of types of meditation. We've got all sorts of traditional meditations, Vipassana, we've got yoga meditation, personal motivational meditations. There's all sorts of types. And a lot of research has been done into meditation as to its balancing effect. It helps with creativity. There's so many benefits for stress. And really here, as we're saying, meditation is a scientific means of contacting one's soul and eventually becoming at one with the soul. So I think, you know, you get a little bit of that soul energy and you're drawn into meditation, or you want to try it. So it seems like that's one of the reasons a lot of people are trying it and practicing meditation.
And we will talk more about the whole process of evolution, of growth, personal growth, how you change once you start doing meditation. I mean, you're always changing anyway. That's part of life, constant growth. But when you meditate, you actually speed that up. It's kind of like a hothouse. It really accelerates the rate of that growth and change. And that's because you contact your soul, and the energies of the soul start to flow into you and through you more and more.
And we have a little video we wanted to play of Benjamin Creme talking about the purpose of meditation. And we'll get into who that is in a moment. But we'll just play the video for now.
About meditation of various forms. For the past 20 or 30 years, there's been a big boom in meditation of all varieties in the West. What is the purpose of meditation in general, if we look at all the different forms?
The basic purpose of meditation is to allow the person, man or woman, to come into contact with and eventually at one with their own soul. Mm-hmm. And there are hundreds of meditations, as you know. There are more or less scientific ways of doing this. And as you come into contact with your soul, the immediate response of the personality is to find some form of service to the world, because the nature of the soul is to serve. That's why it comes into incarnation at all. And so as soon as you're touched by the energy of the soul, you want to serve. Meditation, therefore, is the age-old way, the royal road to this kind of alignment with the soul.
Yeah. And it's age-old. It's age-old. People have been meditating ever since people existed. It's just part of who we are, in fact, because we are souls in incarnation. And the soul's purpose is to serve, as Benjamin Creme was saying. So it's absolutely natural and innate to us to do this. But let's talk about transmission meditation in particular, because that's the type of meditation that we're describing today. What exactly is it? How is it different from any other type of meditation? Well, one of the main differences is that transmission meditation is done in groups of 3 people or more. And we mentioned earlier the science of triangles. So transmission meditation is possible because of the science of triangles. Now, I don't know really much about the science of triangles. Maybe I could say I don't know anything about it. I've experienced the power of triangles when I sit in a transmission meditation group. But basically, because it's a group meditation, a lot more energy can flow through the group because you're in a group rather than an individual. So right away, that makes a big difference compared to solo meditation. And it means that you benefit a lot more when you do this compared to doing meditation by yourself. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't also meditate by yourself, because you develop other qualities and characteristics when you meditate by yourself. You know, a lot about self-discipline or just focus that's different if you're the only person in the room, you know, doing it.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of benefits to the group. It's almost an evolution of meditation itself too. And here it combines service with that growth and in a group. So it becomes that much more powerful. I think Benjamin Creme, who spoke in the video, also said sort of gone are the days of the personal meditation in lieu of these group meditations now. And so it's sort of, as we evolve and we're engaging into more powerful and group-oriented meditation. And so this is a great one to practice.
Because it's something that we do with the Masters of Wisdom, and we haven't really said that yet. So I want to bring that in now, because when you do transmission meditation, you're working with the Masters of Wisdom, and we'll talk about who they are in a sec. But because we're working with them, this meditation is absolutely safe because they are, in fact, watching over how the energies flow through the members of the group, and they make sure that only the amount of energy you can take flows through your chakras and not more. And they also are monitoring and watching over the types of energies and their combinations. So it's very scientific in that sense.
And non-denominational, it doesn't interfere with any other religious or spiritual practices. You can be in any line of work or path, and it can add to your experience. You could be an artist and find that you're more creative by practicing transmission meditation. Your ideas in the realm of science might be magnified a bit. Yeah, any sort of line of work. Just overall awareness.
And it exactly, it'll enhance anything else. Sorry, BC?
Yeah, I was going to say that it enhances people's ability to express and receive love more easily. And like as Tim said, it also improve and make people more creative. And it has been said also that transmission meditation, that some people receive a spontaneous healing during transmission meditation.
That's right. That's
so
important.
It has a lot of a lot of benefits. Yeah.
So people
and
feel
being
a lot
a
of
group
things.
activity, yeah. I suppose being a group activity, it makes it more potent and more powerful compared to triangle meditation, which is offered by the sisters, for example, where people don't have to meet. But for transmission meditation, the group has to meet. And that's the key. It is important that the group meet.
But
and
we
that
will talk.
meeting,
Sorry,
yeah.
I just want to kind of jump in and say, but we will talk later about how during the pandemic, people are doing transmission without meeting in person, because meeting in person is much more difficult now. So if we talk about the desire to serve, that the soul desires to serve, what's almost like a paradox is that we are souls in incarnation, and as souls, we desire to serve, but the soul expresses itself through our different bodies, through the personality, through the physical body, through the emotions. And all of these bodies, if you can think of it like they're like a medium that this energy is flowing through, and there may be greater or lesser degrees to which that energy is able to flow freely. And so as you meditate, those impediments to the flow of the soul's energy are gradually lifted or transformed. And so the energy is flowing more and more through you of your soul, and you're able to express more and more the soul's qualities, the desire to serve, love, peace, creativity, all these things that we've been talking about. And so who really brought transmission meditation into the modern world? It's Benjamin Creme. He was an artist. You can see in that picture a painting that he did behind him. And he also was a disciple of one of the masters of wisdom. And it was his master who inspired him to form the first transmission meditation group in 1974. And since that time, groups of meditators have spread around the world. Now there are transmission groups everywhere in the world. And this is a great work, because really what Benjamin Creme was doing, he was explaining or describing, teaching transmission meditation, but in conjunction with that, he was talking about who are the masters of wisdom, and who is Maitreya, who are these great beings, what is their role, what is their connection with us. So he traveled around the world and talked about this until he passed away in 2016. And the material from his talks was made into books, 4 of which are free. You can download them at any moment, and we'll provide the links for that. We'll tell you where.
And one of those free books is on transmission meditation. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely download that one. And there's lots of great information in there. And this was all done voluntarily. He never received any money for any of this. It was all an act of service to bring this message forward worldwide.
That's right. He earned his living as an artist through his art. Yeah. And he is the most recent, in a way, a lineage or line of teachers. We've got a slide up here showing their faces and their names. And if you're interested in their writings, we have links in the chat where you can connect and find out more about what they wrote about. But they basically wrote about the same things, about the masters of wisdom, who they are, about who we are as souls in incarnation. And we call this the ageless wisdom teachings because it's ageless. It's always been around. It underlies all of the great teachings and traditions in the world, all of the great religions. But this version, if you will, is a modern version of this teaching, which talks about energies and describes things in a very precise way, sometimes almost mathematical. So it's quite an update on what we would have encountered in our basic religious teaching in any of the great traditions.
It's very easy to read. It's simple and profound at the same time, and very relevant to the times we're going through right now. So well worth checking out. It kind of explains a little bit of where we're heading as well. So there's some very hopeful writings in there as well. And so we wanted to play another video of Benjamin Creme talking about transmission meditation, and a little description of what that is.
Also been transmission meditation. First of all, what is it?
It's a form of meditation which is at the same time a field of service. Millions of people around the world today are coming into a closer alignment with their own souls, and this immediately makes them want to serve. And people may not know how to serve. They may not have a field, you know, they're looking simply, kind of finding some kind of way which they could be more useful to the world. If they serve, fine, but they don't always find that way. Transmission meditation is a method where you can work directly with the masters of the spiritual hierarchy under the Christ
Now,
and take a part in this great return to the world of these men.
by way of
And so that brings us to what he was just saying at the end there, the return to the world of these great men. So this group, the Masters of Wisdom, they are returning to the world to work with us openly, and transmission meditation is a very important part of that. And just before we go into that into more detail, we just want to say you don't have to believe any of this in order to actually do transmission meditation. You
That's
don't
right.
have
You don't
to
have to believe in energy or anything.
No.
It just works.
Yeah, exactly. That's important. Yeah.
And we have one more video to play. On energy, speaking of.
The types of energies. Yeah.
Types of energies that
And where they come from.
Spiritual kingdom. And we evolve through the downflow of the energy, spiritual energy from hierarchy, and so the human kingdom evolves. From the human kingdom, these energies are passed down to the animal kingdom, from the animal to the vegetable, from the vegetable to the mineral kingdom. So in this process, all of these kingdoms are evolving in response to the spiritual, because that's what it is, impact of these energies from above. And each kingdom grows out of the kingdom below and grows into, by this process, the kingdom above.
And then
at the edge is a radiatory activity, and the shift is through radiation. This increases the radiation of humanity to a point where humanity has been lifted, and great events take place in the world, like the transformation of our political structures, economic, religious, social structures, and at the same time, the groups involved in it are moving out of the strictly human kingdom into the spiritual kingdom, which is the spiritual hierarchy of masters. They're becoming disciples, initiates, eventually masters.
That always blows my mind to
Yeah.
realize we're going to become masters ourselves one day. Sometimes it seems hard to believe, right?
We're on this amazing evolutionary journey. And BC, you were going to talk about that?
Yeah,
About
I think
evolution?
yes, evolution is as Ben just described, is us progressing towards becoming disciples, initiates, and masters one day. But also on the physical level, evolution is about humanity coming to the realization that we are one, and then embracing unity in diversity as a result. Lord Maitreya, who we're going to introduce later on, actually said unity in diversity is key to future harmony. So it's about the way, the transformation that is expected to take place on planet Earth as a result of that.
And I
That
love
makes
this.
sense. Sorry, Tim, you go
I was
ahead.
going to say the greatest unity with the greatest diversity. I love that. It's
Yeah.
not about sameness, everything being the same or everyone being
Same.
in line. That's not what he's talking about, but the greatest
Yeah.
expression of diversity, but in unity.
Yeah, and it makes sense if we're going
Yeah.
to be making changes in our world, we'll have to act with one purpose or one, we'll have to be focused around ideas and share those ideas. So unity is going to be essential, absolutely essential. And I mean, we all know this from working in groups. We all work in groups. We're all members of families, which is a group. In our jobs, most of us are working in groups. And we know that when there's unity in the sense of a shared sense of vision and purpose in a group, that's when things work the best. Shared values, shared vision. So it's absolutely very kind of common sense in a way, what he's saying here. But
And
it's
something
interesting.
Making decisions for the greatest good of all.
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. And nations working together, they can preserve their identity, but on a common goal, perhaps tackling world problems would be an example of that as well.
And talking about evolution, we like to just say to start off that all of us are divine. In fact, all life is divine, and that it is on the basis of this divinity that we evolve, because that divinity is expressing through us, as we mentioned earlier, but maybe in varying degrees. So the difference between myself and a master is that the master is able to express that divinity fully. I'm expressing it partially. And so as we keep evolving, we are increasing our ability to express that divinity. And so when we talk about the masters, who they are, basically what we want to say is that they are people, beings who've reached the end of that evolutionary journey on Earth. And they're often called the Lords of Compassion as well, because having lived and experienced all the different types of hardships or challenges, every kind of experience you can have on Earth, they have an absolute compassion for us, who are still going through all that. And so there's never any judgment from their side. We call them masters because they have mastery over themselves, not because they are telling anyone else what to do. For these great beings, free will is sacred. They would never infringe our free will for many reasons, but the most important perhaps is that the only way that we can really evolve and grow is if we do it on our own. That is, without our own free will. We have to make our choices ourselves. If we were simply, told what to do, that wouldn't actually work. We wouldn't learn from that.
And the
think
masters are
also,
continuing to evolve. Go
yes,
ahead, BC.
yeah, I was going to say they are masters because of their evolutionary attainment. They've accomplished a lot, and also they have complete control and complete awareness on every aspect of this planet. So that makes them the masters as well. Yeah. The masters of wisdom and the spirit and Lord Maitreya make up the spiritual hierarchy of our planet.
Right. In the video, he was talking
And
about the different kingdoms, right? And that spiritual kingdom would be another in that, you have your mineral, vegetable, animal, human, and then spiritual kingdoms.
So
right?
the spiritual kingdom is what we're growing into, right? That's what we're entering.
Yeah. So Lord Maitreya is the master of all the masters, is the head of the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. He embodies the energy of love, is the heart of love, and that makes him the Christ. The energy of love is also sometimes described as the Christ principle. So that makes him the Christ on our planet. He holds the position of the world teacher at the moment. I think prior to him was the Buddha holding the post of the world teacher. So he holds the post of the world teacher, and he is the same illumined and perfected being that is awaited by different religions in the world. For example, the Christians are awaiting the reappearance of the Christ. The Muslims are awaiting the Mahdi. The Jews are awaiting the Messiah. The Hindus are awaiting Krishna, and the Buddhists are awaiting Maitreya Buddha. We are also told that Maitreya was the one who overshadowed Jesus of Nazareth during the over 2,000 plus years ago, during the last 3 years of his mission. Yeah, so it's the energy of love.
Sorry, I just want to jump back for a minute because you, on the orange slide, the last item there was about awaiting an invitation from humanity via the world's media. I just want to comment on that because these people, the Masters of Wisdom and Maitreya, they have always been living with us on the earth. That is, they're part of human evolution. They were people just like us before they became masters. And then once they became masters, they continued to live here, but they lived in places far away from our centers, like in the high mountains, in deserts. And they've been there the whole time, the big news now is that they're going to emerge to work openly with us in this coming age, the age of Aquarius, because we're ready. We're ready to work with them. We have the mental sophistication and the emotional stability, most of us, most of the time, to be able to understand these ideas and work with the masters as partners with them. And so it's a very big step for us. It's a big step for them as well. And we will soon hear them talking to us, openly. Right now, for example, we three today on this show, we're talking about this, but it's not in the newspapers. It's not in the media, not yet. But this is what Benjamin Creme has said, is that it will be. And so that I just wanted to comment on that little bit there.
Wonderful.
And I think, BC, when you were talking about Maitreya and his work 2,000 years ago with Jesus of Nazareth, that gives a kind of perspective on the time frames for the Masters of Wisdom, that they're not bound by the kind of time frames we're bound by, because we live in a human body that has a certain lifespan. And but once you become a master, that's not a limitation anymore. Yes, and so they're going to emerge into public life for the first time in 98,000 years. That's a long, long time. Yeah,
and their role really is to teach, to guide, and to teach, about laws of life and the ways of life, about unity, about diversity, about our divinity, as well. So their role is to come in and teach and remind us about all of these things.
Yeah, that's right. And this little, just on the previous slide, we had the prayer for the new age. This is something anyone can do on their own. It's very powerful for aligning all of your different bodies, connecting you with your soul. It's quite a beautiful prayer. So that's something we just included here as a little sideline, kind of. It's not part of. No, I just wanted to say it's not part of transmission.
Yeah, no, I think it's to also kind of remind us that we are divine beings. So the wordings of the a prayer for the new age kind of reminds us that we are creators of the universe. So, and that's the reason why we are slowly progressing to discipleship, initiates, and hopefully one day we become masters as well. Yeah.
But just to mention that that particular prayer is not used in transmission meditation. That's a separate thing.
Right. But it's a great one to practice. If you're already doing meditation, you can always try it out as an affirmation. You can recite it, keeping your attention up here in a meditative state, and visualize and feel into the meaning of the words, and bring your will into it, and you'll find it can really connect you to who you truly are.
And also just to mention that he's not here to start a new religion. Maitreya says that if whatever tradition you're already in, whatever your practice is already, carry on if you're happy with it. His purpose is really, he considers himself more of a teacher than anything else, and a teacher for everybody. And the main thing he's going to be teaching us is the art of self-realization. And that's a path that's open to everybody, whether you have a spiritual belief or not. It's a very practical teaching. BC, I think I cut you off. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that, he's currently living openly in the Asian community in London. Since 1977, Benjamin Creme writes that Lord Maitreya came down from his Himalayan retreats, because, as you said earlier, all Lord Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom have been living, in the desert and mountain areas of the world, from where they've been working tirelessly behind the scene, guiding human evolution, human achievement, from political to economic to social. So, but now the aim is to work to return to full public life. As our educator, our protector, and our guide. So Lord Maitreya is the spiritual teacher for all, and is here to awaken humanity so that we can all embrace our divinity. Yeah.
And I think it's working, because everybody is really awakening and becoming more and more aware of what needs to be righted, the wrongs that need to be righted, the changes that are needed. We're seeing that type of awakening taking place all over the world. And in our next slide, we have some of Maitreya's own words about who he is. This is from a message number 10. There's a book called Messages from Maitreya the Christ. These are messages that Maitreya communicated to Benjamin Creme, and they were all written down. There's 140 of them. And I really like his words here. I am the one who will not go away. I am the stranger at the gate. I am the one who knocks. I am your friend, your hope, your shield. I am your love. These are beautiful words, and just the idea that we have an ally and a friend, somebody who's got this ability to be present in this way. It's quite amazing.
It's very comforting to know there are these great spiritual beings in the physical plane now helping us, guiding us, not to solve our problems for us, but to inspire and teach us. We have to do the work of solving the problems, but we do have that support. And when we work together towards this unity with diversity, their energy is sustaining us and feeding us. And they've offered us transmission meditation, which we're talking about today, as a great way to participate in this evolution and to help the world to transmit these great energies, as we were talking about earlier, about each kingdom nourishing the other kingdom, the animal kingdom nourishing the plant kingdom, and the human kingdom nourishing the animal kingdom, and so on. These great energies nourish us, and the whole universe is always transmitting from all the different levels. And so to participate in this is a great opportunity to help bring about some of these amazing things into the world.
So we've talked about
it's a field service.
Hope. Yeah. I think, from that message, I am your hope. I think on a personal level, once you get going with transmission meditation, you feel that sense of hope and going through all aspects of life. So no matter what is happening, we know that things will get better. So it's really important for that.
Yeah. And so as we mentioned before, it's a field of service. It's a way of helping out and working directly with the masters of wisdom.
And again, you don't have to believe in the masters of wisdom to do this work, to do the transmission. But it is an opportunity to do this. And there are great energies flooding the planet that are being transmitted through the masters and through us when we engage in transmission meditation. Energies of love and equilibrium, solar energies, healing energies, cosmic energies.
Cosmic, planetary.
Planetary, yeah.
And I see that one of our audience member has raised his hand. Please write your message in the chat. That's how we like to do it on this show. So just go ahead and write your message in the chat, your question, and then we'll respond to it. So when we do transmission meditation, one of the most important parts of it is the fact that these energies have such a high vibration that they would normally just bounce off most of us, because we're not vibrating ourselves at a high enough level to be able to receive those energies. So what happens when you're in this meditation, you actually participate in a process of lowering that frequency. And so if you just go to the next slide, you'll see here just this description, the word stepping down, that lowering the frequencies, it's often called stepping down. And I think it's also used that way when you talk about electrical currents, lowering the frequency of an electrical current. And so one of the examples that in fact,
transformer to step down to reduce the voltage, kind of acting as a transformer.
That's right. And
because acting as it, because Benjamin Creme also kind of mentioned that since Lord Maitreya returned or came down from his Himalaya retreat, he became a channel for powerful cosmic and planetary energies, which, as you said, are so powerful that if they just sent out into the world like that, they will bounce off masses of people. So the transmission meditation groups are really crucial in being used as a transformer to step down those energies and make it more user-friendly and useful to the general public, and also to the subhuman kingdom as well.
Well, because then we can absorb those energies when they're at a lower frequency. And John, our chat show who gave the chat show host, he gave us the example of when you plug in your laptop, the current that goes into the laptop has to be lower than what's coming out of the wall plug. So there is a transformer that makes that change so that you don't overload the laptop or the computer. And it's the same for this. Yeah. And now we have a video, another video. Yay.
Let's talk about sum up some of the energies we're talking about here.
Maybe the kingdom evolved. The spiritual kingdom. And we evolve through the downflow of the energy, spiritual energy from hierarchy, and so the human kingdom evolves. From the human kingdom, these energies are passed down to the animal kingdom, from the animal to the vegetable, from the vegetable to the mineral kingdom. So in this process, all of these kingdoms are evolving in response to the spiritual, because that's what it is, impact of these energies from above. And each kingdom grows out of the kingdom below and grows into, by this process, the kingdom above. And at the edge is a radiatory activity, and the shift is through radiation. This increases the radiation of humanity to a point where humanity has been lifted, and great events take place in the world, like the transformation of our political structures, economic, religious, social structures, and at the same time, the groups involved in it are moving out of the strictly human kingdom into the spiritual kingdom, which is the spiritual hierarchy of masters. They're becoming disciples, initiates, eventually masters.
Okay, that was a bit of a review. We heard that once before. I didn't have the timing on the time for this particular video. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It was good to hear it again. Yeah. And just, I want to mention one thing that we haven't said yet, is that when we sit and do transmission meditation, as we've said, the energies are stepped down or lowered in frequency as they pass through us. And once they pass through us, because they go through, that is, they don't just stay in us, they go in and out, then the masters direct those energies where they are needed in the world. And that's something that we don't participate in. We don't try to send energies anywhere because we don't know where they're needed. And we don't have the ability to even really know which energy, how much, that type of thing, the potency. But that's something the masters manage on their end. So we just act as the transformers where the energy is lowered in frequency.
And we help the masters to create a pool of those energies that they can tap into whenever it is needed throughout the world. Yeah.
And so now we're going to talk about the how to actually do it. Generally, people who do this meditation have a desire to serve. And Maitreya himself has said, my need is for those who love both God and man and who see each in themselves. And so that's a kind of cornerstone of this, or it's part of it. However, I would say if you're interested, just try it. Don't worry about whether you think you have the right intention to serve. I think all of that comes with time, and you may in fact be impelled by that energy already, but you may not have thought of it, or you may not have, been conscious of it or thinking about it in that way. So I think it's just a question of sitting down and trying it. Now we have a question here. How is transmission meditation different from mindfulness meditation? I'm not familiar with mindfulness. I don't know how that works, but I can tell you that with transmission meditation, there are very specific steps that you have to do. First of all, you have to hold your attention at the Ajna center. And we're going to talk a little bit about the chakras and what they are. The Ajna chakra is one of the chakras. And when you hold your attention there, you automatically connect your physical brain with your soul. And this is the connection that allows you to be meditating. As long as you're holding your attention there and this connection is active, then you can meditate, because the energy flows through your soul and then into your physical brain. And so in that process of going into your physical brain, it gets transformed or stepped down, lowered in frequency, because your physical body is vibrating at a lower frequency. So first of all, the Ajna center. And then the next thing that's unique to transmission meditation is the great invocation. And this is a great mantra or prayer, which the group says together in unison at the very start of the meditation. And it actually causes the meditation to start. It's like, I think Benjamin Creme said, it's like a buzzer, exactly. It's like ringing a buzzer and letting the masters know we're ready, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, transmission meditation is a group activity. I'm not familiar with mindfulness, but it's a group activity with the aim of serving the world. So it's as a whole. So it's for the service of mankind, and also you are developing yourself as well through that process. So and you need to be in a group. At least the group needs to consist of 3 or more people to form triangles. And this is to allow, sorry?
No, sorry. No, you go ahead, BC. Finish what you're saying.
So I was saying that the transmission meditation it's a group activity. And to be part of it, you need to join a group or form your own group. And the group needs to consist of minimum of 3 people. And this is because this is to allow the energy in the group to be triangulated as everybody in the group links up with one another, thereby making the energy that is stepped down through the group more powerful and more potent. So the more people you have in your group, the more triangles formed that can be formed. So for example, if you have 3 people in your group, then we have 1 triangle.
If you click on the slide, you'll get another image. If you click again, there.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So the triangles increase. So it's a very potent meditation in a group. And the triangles, I mean, a year of solid transmission meditation can be equivalent to 10 years of other forms of meditation as far as growth and service. So I think mindfulness is more of vipassana, right? Like a mindful meditation, being present in the moment.
So you know what it is?
Yeah, that's my understanding. And I think I would say you could always try transmission, and it might add to the mindfulness. You can kind of do your own sort of comparison. But the big thing is the service aspect mixed with the personal growth and working in the group, and the opportunity to work directly with the Masters of Wisdom. So it makes it, I guess those would be some of the maybe distinguishing factors. But again, it doesn't interfere with any other types of meditation or practices, but it might embellish it. And I would encourage trying them both.
And just this little chart here with the list of numbers, that's just to show that with every additional person who joins a group, the number of triangles jumps dramatically. So with 5 people, you've already got 10 triangles, but then if you just add 1 more person to make 6, you've got 20, you've got double the number. So it's quite a fantastic progression. And we've got the mathematical equation there. But really, if you're in a group, for example, of 10 people, you can really feel that there's much more energy flowing through the group.
Absolutely. And when you were talking about the Ajna Center before, Sabina, we just wanted to just go into the energy body a bit, just to explain it a bit. So we all have this energy system. We all have chakras. Here we have the 7 chakras. So these are energy centers or vortices of energy that are tied to our endocrine system. And you can see the breakdown here in the chart: the crown, the ajna, the throat, the heart, solar plexus, sacral, the root chakra tied to the adrenals. So they all have their corresponding glands. We're talking about the Ajna center because that's the key sort of distributor of the energies. It synthesizes the other chakras, and that's where you would hold your attention for transmission meditation. During the process, you think the word Om mentally, and it brings your attention automatically up to the Ajna center. And generally, transmission meditation floods a lot of the energies through the top 4 centers here: heart, throat, Ajna, crown.
Yeah,
And of course, we have many minor chakras as well in our systems.
Oh yes. So when Tim,
So-
you were gesturing, you put your fingers up. So we basically say that the Ajna center is the center between the eyebrows. And one of the ways to become aware of that chakra, because you may not have focused on it or done any meditation where you had to think about it, but what Benjamin Creme says is if you just put your finger between your eyebrows, touch the spot between your eyebrows, then take your finger away and just feel that spot. Now that you've touched it, you know what it feels like. And that's really the very basic instruction for how to begin, how to first become aware of that chakra. When you're sitting and doing the meditation, many people will experience energy pulsing there at that chakra. But whether you feel energy or not, it is in fact moving through your chakra.
Right. If you don't feel anything, it doesn't mean it's not working.
That's right.
But some people do feel like your whole head could go numb, or you feel the different centers during the meditation. So lots of different experiences for different people, depending on their own makeup.
Right. And now sort of the nuts and bolts, just to return to that you hold your attention at the Ajna center, which aligns the physical brain and the soul. And then altogether, the group says the great invocation, which we will describe. We're going to go ahead and do that. And when you say the great invocation, when the group says it, it links the group with the masters, with the spiritual hierarchy. And it also calls forth, it's an invocation, as the title says, the name of it. And it calls forth or invokes these energies that then flow through the group. And if your attention wanders, sorry?
Pardon me?
No, I was going to say, if your attention wanders, you mentally think the mantra Om. And what that does is it traces your attention back to the Ajna center and realigns your physical brain and the soul, and also place the energy at the mental plane. I think Benjamin Creme says that is important because if the energy is placed, we have the physical plane, the astral or the emotional plane. If the energy is placed, for example, on the emotional plane, which would be in the solar plexus area, it can it will kind of affect the potency of the energy that is stepped down. So, but when it's placed at the mental plane, which Benjamin Creme describes these various planes as states of consciousness rather than a physical place, then it makes it much more easier to send out the to step down the spiritual energies that are flowing through the group from the spiritual hierarchy.
I think what we have next are pictures an artist made, sort of showing how you can envision what's actually happening. So here's a picture of a person, just one person, and you see a kind of a star of light above their head, and then a column of light going down through the person. So that star would be like a little kind of depiction of your soul, the energy of your soul, and it's flowing down into you and through your chakras. You can see a little bulge in the head. That would be the crown chakra, or maybe the Ajna chakra. And then the throat chakra, a bulge in the throat. And then the next picture, we see 3 people. That's one triangle. And you can see how each person has the same light constitution. You see the little star of light above their heads and the column of light going down through their bodies. But each of these people's light star also is connected to each other, making a triangle of light. And so if you have more people in the group, which you see in the next picture, here you see 5 people, you can see how if you connect that light from each person to the others, that's where you get all these interplays of triangles. Here you'll have 10 triangles, in fact. And then if this is expanded, you end up with a network of light across the whole Earth. And this is really what's taking place right now as people do this meditation. It is growing network across the whole globe of meditators doing this. And it's creating an energy pool, as BC was mentioning earlier, that is really helping the whole of the human race to evolve, and at the same time nourishing all of the kingdoms. So it's a very powerful thing. And I think that's the end of the main part of our presentation about the meditation. We talked about the purpose of transmission meditation, and we've talked about the Masters of Wisdom and Maitreya, who they are, and their connection with this meditation. And I think now what we're going to do is go straight into actually meditating. We're actually going to do it. But first, some links where you can get more information. Share-international.org is a website with an enormous amount of information about all of these topics. You can also watch more videos of Benjamin Creme on the Share International channel on YouTube. And if you want to look at the books and the free downloads, you can find those at share-ecart.com.
So lots of great information. There are also some books we mentioned earlier for free download. Here you can see Transmission, Meditation for the New Age, World Teacher for All Humanity, Awakening of Humanity and the Ageless Wisdom Teaching. All great reads, great books. Feel free to check it out if this information resonates for you. And there's also Share International Magazine, which is a great magazine full of wonderful articles, inspiring articles. There's no advertising. It's translated into more than half a dozen languages. And you can get the subscription information on share-ecart.com.
Right. And then we have brief attributions. We just want to mention the music and the images that we're using, Pixabay, Unsplash, and various individuals as well, and Share International Foundation. And now, yes, to do the meditation. Again, you don't have to believe in any of what we've said or what we've been talking about in order to do this meditation. You can just jump in and try it.
And it works with your religious belief or traditions. It doesn't affect it at all as well. Actually, Benjamin Creme says that it will actually enhance those practices. So.
Right.
So we want to talk a little bit about the Great Invocation, which is what we say at the beginning of transmission meditation. It's like ringing a bell to get the attention of the Masters of Wisdom, saying we're ready to transmit. It's an ancient mantra that was introduced to the modern world in June 1945. And BC, you were going to say something about Maitreya in 1945.
Yeah, in 1945, Lord Maitreya informed the Masters of Wisdom of his decision to return to full public life once humanity starts to get their house in order, like he starts to embrace goodwill, sharing, justice, and peace. And at the time, the Great Invocation Prayer was released. So basically, the Great Invocation Prayer acts kind of like a mantra to call forth the energies of God's representatives on planet Earth, which is Maitreya, the world teacher, who embodies the Christ principles, as we said. Also, the Buddha, who embodies light or the wisdom of God, and also Shambhala, where the center where the will of God is known. Yeah.
And it's in many languages, right? The Great Invocation.
Yeah.
But it's being used around the world by groups in many different parts of the world, using it in many different languages. And so, as we've been saying, we use it to start transmission, but you can also use it on its own. It's very powerful if you just say it as a prayer, as an invocation on its own, standalone. And many people do that as well as part of their personal meditation.
It is said to aid the healing of our planet and help us to become more spiritually aware of the impact of we have on each other as a group, and also on the impact of our behavior on the lower kingdoms, the mineral kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, and the environment as a whole, kind of, yes.
Right. And just a word of caution, if you have a pacemaker or serious heart problems, it's advisable not to do this meditation because the energies are strong. Also, if you have emotional or psychological imbalances, probably best not to until those are resolved and you have more stability. And also, if you're under the age of 12, you shouldn't do it. Why? Because the chakras aren't fully formed until you're 12. So it's better not to have these strong energies flowing through until they're ready to take those energies.
And we should mention that, of course, we've been talking about group meditation and gathering in groups and meditating. But of course, during the pandemic, it has been difficult to do that. So a lot of the groups have been meeting virtually on Zoom and other platforms. So we'll put in the chat links to Zoom meditations that you can participate in, like we all do. We find that's a very great way to connect and to practice transmission meditation during these times of lockdowns and mandates. And again, they're always free, so you can check on the Zoom link. There's never a charge for doing it. There's never an expectation to stay for the whole time. It's up to you how you feel. You can certainly just try it. And again, it's non-denominational.
Yeah. So I guess we're ready to start. Are there any questions, or does anyone want to say anything before we jump in? We'll meditate for half an hour, and then we'll come back on. Just to say goodbye and talk about what we're going to do next time. And of course, you can continue meditating longer than half an hour. You don't have to stop at that point.
And again, simply you can sit comfortably. You keep your attention up here between the eyebrows, the Ajna center during the meditation. If your attention drops for whatever reason, you notice your mind has wandered, you think the word Om, and your attention comes back up to the Ajna center between the eyebrows. So very simple to do, really. Those are the main things. You don't have to have any different postures or anything like that. It's good to stand straight, or sit straight, I should say, but you can be in a comfortable chair.
Oh, you could do it standing too.
You could stand it, yeah, if you want to, yeah.
But generally, it's not advisable to lie down because you might just fall asleep.
Probably fall asleep, yeah.
But I've been in groups where some people sat on chairs and at least one person sat on the floor in cross-legged. Yeah.
If you find that more comfortable.
And we did just get a question, will transmission meditation conflict with any other type of meditation? And the answer is no, it won't. In fact, it will enhance any other kind of meditation you're doing. So there's no conflict at all.
Yeah.
And also it's important not to meditate on the Om. You literally just think it and to bring your attention back to the Ajna center and maintain that alignment between the physical brain and the soul, and also to place the energy at the mental plane.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a good point because it can be misunderstood when we say that you should mentally think Om, that you don't want to just end up thinking about Om. That's not the purpose.
For the whole time, yeah.
Right. It's just a tool to bring your attention back to that point.
Yeah. And don't worry about your thoughts. Like the thoughts come and go. You don't have to worry about fighting it. Just let them flow. Keep your attention up here, and it'll kind of slow down those thoughts anyways as you get more aligned with the higher mind. So just let all of that flow and just keep your attention.
But you might have some very good ideas. I sometimes get really good ideas when I'm meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I actually have a little pad of paper and I just jot them down so I don't forget.
Yeah.
I think at the start, sometimes people find it challenging to maintain that focus. And because the attention being focused at the Ajna center is really, really key very important in transmission meditation. Even if you can do it, maintain that consciously for 5 minutes. Benjamin Creme says that, even though it's for a short period, the amount of service you actually done within that short period is greater than anything else you could be doing. So you might want to start gradually and just build up to longer time, perhaps once you get used to being able to maintain that focus at the Ajna Center.
Well, that's a good point. And he also says that
Yeah.
really the way it works for almost everybody is that you're connected, your focus is on your Ajna center between the eyebrows, and you're meditating. And then your attention wanders and goes away, and then you're not meditating. And then you bring it back and you connect again, and you are meditating. And it's a back and forth sort of the whole time.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. BC, would you like to say the great invocation this time?
Okay, yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll mute out, but we'll all be saying it with you. It's just that we'll turn our microphones off so that we all just hear your voice.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have a little comment here. The Ajna chakra, right? You mentioned that earlier. It's the controller of the other chakras, right, Tim? You said that earlier when you were talking about the chakras.
That's right. It synthesizes. Yes.
Right.
The traffic cop.
The traffic cop. Okay. So we'll be meditating for a half hour. I hope everybody enjoys it, and I'll mute out now, and then you go ahead, BC.
Okay. Right. The great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on her. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to her. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.
That was transmission meditation. We hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you, John, for ringing the bell. And I just want to say, if this information resonates for you, please share it widely. Is there anybody you know who would benefit from knowing about this? And could you share this video with them? And before we carry on, I'd just like to mention that in 2 weeks' time, there will be a webinar put on by Share International Live. And this is about the imperative of change towards a sane and just world, a spiritual perspective on our global crises, of which we have many. Your questions answered. So this is an opportunity to ask any questions you have, and the people on the panel will answer them. And the registration for that will be on Share International Canada's Facebook page. We'll be putting that up this weekend, so you can register. And then the next time we're back is in a month on March 12th. And we'll be back to talk about Maitreya and the sword of cleavage. And that's to do with the polarization that we're seeing taking place across the globe these days. Same time. And for this, it'll be the same link. And we'll have the information up on the Share International Canada Facebook page again, and you can register there as well. So we'd like to thank our tech crew, John in Montgomery, Alabama, Cielito in Seattle, Washington. And thank you, BC, for being here. Thank you, Tim. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you,
hope
Sabina.
enjoyed it.
Thank you, BC. Thanks, everyone.
You. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and the three of us will be back again another time, for sure. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend. Happy Saturday. Is there anything else we want to say before we stop? I think that's
it. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.